Hello, this video is about opposition. It's a way that you can get your single pawn promoted if you have one left and the opponent has none, and also how to defend if your opponent has one pawn and you don't have any. In this example, moving your king up to f5 means that you can't win the game anymore because black can get in front of the pawn, and then after a while you can no longer make any progress. The black king can keep blocking your king. If you do check, the black king can block the pawn. If you move away, the black king can take your pawn. And if you move behind the pawn, it's a stalemate, so you can't make any progress. Taking the opposition of the black king in front of your pawn is the way to win this. Then you can move up and try and block the king from getting in front of the pawn. And at this point, you can just push the pawn forwards. The black king has to move out of the way, and then you can advance the pawn to promote to a queen and go on to win the game. The opposition concept still applies if you're further away from the king. So here we try and move up, but that allows the black king to get the opposition. And now black is going to win because we can no longer get in front of the pawn. And eventually we are forced to move out of the way, and then the black king can promote to a queen and win the game. If black moves in front of their pawn after you move the king sideways, then you can take the opposition, which forces black to move away. And you can keep blocking the black king. If black advances the pawn, then you can move the king in front of the pawn. Then after this, black won't be able to make any progress. The key thing about distance opposition is that the number of empty squares between the two kings must be an odd number. If black advances the pawn, you can just move the king up so that it's 2 squares in front of the pawn. Now black can't make any progress because you can just stay in front of the pawn as we saw before. In this example, the kings aren't in front of the pawns, but you still need to apply the same principle and get opposition in front of the enemy king. Okay, let's get the blunder out of the way first. If you try to move the pawn to c4, black can just en passant it, and then they'll be able to win the game by promoting to a queen. There's a temptation here to move the king diagonally up to block off the king. If you do that, it's now a draw. Black can advance their pawn, which you have to take. And then as you move the kings over, you can see that by the time you get in front of your pawn, black king has the opposition, and then you are forced to move away, which will result in not being able to promote the pawn. So the only way to win the game for white is to move your king up to h4, gaining the opposition against the black king. Now as you move over, you have the opposition, and once you're next to the black pawn, black can try and advance it, but you can just take with your pawn, and black tries to move in front of your pawn, and you now have the opposition in front of your pawn, so you can go on to win the game. So the continuation of this is that black is forced to move away, and then you can start moving your king up, retaining the opposition. Then you can move to the side. Black can try and regain the opposition, but you can advance your pawn. And then the crucial move is to block the king off from all 3 of the squares. Here you can't advance the pawn, you have to move the king in front of the pawn one last time or it will be a stalemate. Now you can get to the side and start advancing your pawn all the way to the promotion square. And now you can go on to win the game. Okay, that's the end of this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.